I think if this is going to go to council on Monday, on the 7th, there's some things that are going to have to be addressed and figured out in terms of cost. So the building itself is a couple $100, okay, but what is it going to cost to redo this building? I mean, it needs a new roof, new lighting, new carpet, new windows, probably new mechanical. I mean, it seems like everything in this building is going to have to be replaced at some point. So I would like to see what that cost would look like. To retrofit this into a fitness center or community center, what type of costs are we thinking of budgeting at least for use of that, or a cost to staff it, et cetera. Those are things that we would have to look at to give if you're going to check our pulse, that's the one thing we're going to ask. So at least have that ready on April 7th.
We're not going to have that by April 7th. I mean,
a budget. I mean, if some
John, it would be hard. I mean, we could put a conceptual number out there, but if you say it's somewhere between 2 and 10 million, if I'm on council, I'm not sure how much that helps me.
Yeah, I want to be very clear here. I'm on vacation next week, so my last day in the office is almost here. I'm not going to be able to do that, and before the 7th. And more to the point, what you're really talking about. If we're really talking about what it's going to cost to remodel the building, that's not something I can do. That's something we would have to hire somebody else to do. So
no, but I appreciate John's point that if you're on council,
I also want to be clear that there is no letter of intent with regard to the land over there, because that letter of intent was in exchange for our planning commission approving the bus depot, which it never did. So we don't have a letter of intent with. Well, no, that's right.
Okay, hold on.
So we do not have a letter of intent with regard
to. Let me respond to that. Mayor, that's sneaky. And first of all,
it's not sneaky. The planning commission
did not approve the plan. Mayor, let me finish.
No, hold on.
Mayor,
I was talking.
No. Stop talking. You say you do not have the gavel. He gets the gavel.
I don't have the gavel. But I'm not going to sit here and listen to you try to shut me down. I'm trying to explain what happened.
Mayor, get mature and sit down.
Look,
my God.
If you're going to talk like that to me, fuck you. I'm done here.
Well, enjoy your vacation. I know you say you work 365 days a year. Clearly, you're not going to be. Clearly, you don't want to do your homework. Go
back to calling out where you live, and I'll see you later.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I don't know if there's much of an appetite to procure this building with all the needs that it needs. I mean, the school district put a few million into it, but it needs a lot more. It needs new bathrooms.
How do we get our arms around that, John?
I don't think they have the appetite.
How is there an understanding of what was done when this was put to temporary use for the high school project and what's left to do? Is there a needs assessment somewhere that identifies?
I don't know if there is a needs assessment. That is a very good question. When they did the building, most of the work was with temporary facilities. Some of that are still here, like the extra gymnasium, the extra corridors, but the trailers are gone. I don't think they added the music wing. I don't think they did anything exterior-wise, like the envelope. The envelope's going to have to be repaired and brought up to a current code.
I was told they did the roof. I don't know that the person that told me that spoke with authority. So I agree with Mayor that it would be not possible to get a responsible statement and projection for the council on what this building would need. And one of the questions is, what exactly would we want to do here? If I'm on council, I'm imagining that this is a very large facility where the city could benefit from using 10 or 15 or 20% of it at the most. And so I'd be thinking, geez, what are we going to do with the rest?
Exactly.
Does this become some sort of community multi-tenant facility, which works in some places, but I think there's a lot of questions there. I guess, to me, the key is, can we make any progress on at least the service department left?
That is where council does have an appetite. That is something we've directed the mayor to work with the school board. Now he's saying it didn't get a planning commission approval. First of all, they didn't even go through the correct channels. It was supposed to go through a planning commission approval, but that's neither here or there.
Do we need to understand what that meant?
What's that? What their agreement was?
Yes.
There was no formal agreement. It was like a gentleman's handshake sort of thing to get the buses back here. What we've been asking is for him to get that in writing, because as you know, the school board itself is an elected body. It changes every few years, and we don't know if an incoming board next year is going to have the same appetite. Therefore, by end of this year, we should have something, while the current board that's seated has the same interest that we do.
That's the issue. That, the mayor wants to only approach it as for the parts of the property he discussed, the whole building and everything else, and he doesn't want to pursue just getting the service property, which makes it difficult being the executive head of the city, because that's his role. So
I'm not asking either of you to put words in your mouth, but can you characterize Vice Mayor Weiss's perspective on this issue of land for the service department? Is she also in favor of making progress on that?
Yeah, I think there would be support from council for acquiring that property for the service.
Yes. I'm not, with regard to the cost estimate, I'm not asking for a formal cost estimate. I'm looking for a budget number of what do you think you would need to do something of such, turning this into a community center. The staffing alone, those figures in terms of staffing, he should be able to provide. We know.
Well, I can tell you from the walkthrough we did here with Mayor and Katie Atwater, I have a sense of what some of that math is and what some of the areas that are contemplated by the mayor, at least, to be the most useful and effective for the people we would locate here from City Hall. And I think that's somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million max, because it's not a big staff, and it's the areas right over here which are not in horrible shape. And so if we need another air handler on the roof, I don't think those are big numbers. But I really don't want council to make a decision based on that representation, which has had no real official professional intelligence study. But it's not a big number, would be my point. And so if you folks are okay with this, if you feel we need a motion and you want to be very clear and bookended, I'm all ears. But if you folks are okay with this, I'm perfectly willing to go before council and talk about the service department area, which apparently is not new to them. If we need to dig up the GPD drawings, we can, but with the understanding that these aren't necessarily current, but we're in the ballpark, and try and see if we can't discern an appetite from the city to be a little bit more assertive with the Board of Ed, and see if we can't lock this down by the end of the year, as Mr. Rock indicated is kind of important. Is that okay with people? Do you feel you need a motion on this? If you do, who's going to word it?
I don't think we need a motion. You can just ask the
I don't think so either.
council to make a presentation, and they'll either put it on the agenda or they won't. So.
Okay. So am I hearing this right? The mayor's not going to be at that meeting?
He will be at the April 7th meeting.
Okay.
Yes. We'll be back by then.
Any other discussion on the Wiley questions? No? Okay. Can I take you back to item number 1? I know we haven't had a routine of reviewing and approving the previous meeting minutes. We probably should.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any comments on the 129 meeting minutes?
Were those just delivered to everybody today? Then I think we would need more time to review it. So.
Oh, they've been out there since. Oh.
The minutes, though.
Minutes, yeah. We didn't receive them until right before the meeting.
They were sent out a few weeks
okay.
back.
They were?
Oh, they were? Okay, then I'll abstain on the vote because I didn't get a chance to read it, but others did.
Okay, because I was going to ask for a vote to accept them as a fair and accurate representation of what was said at that meeting.
But everybody else had a chance.
Is there a motion?
Minor typos, but
Sure.
I'm sorry?
there was just some minor typos. Otherwise, it seemed straight.
Yeah, my concern was really with the content, and is that an accurate reflection of what was said? Anybody want to make a motion to that effect to accept them in that light?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Who did the second? Thank you.
Chief Perko.
Mr. Roach.
Roberta?
Mr. Eberhard?
Yes.
Mr. Brennan? Mr. Rock?
Abstain.
Ms. Smockby?
Yes.
Chief Perko?
Yes.
Chief Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Pennington?
Abstain.
Thank you.
They're
I'm
approved.
sorry?
They're approved.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make a very simple statement that while I think those meeting minutes are accurate, there's a number of statements made by committee members during that meeting that are incorrect and warrant correction. I'll make this real simple. If you want to have specific page numbers and you want me to quote the different quotes, this primarily concerns comments from Mayor Brennan, Chief Perko, and Chief Rogers. I've been repeatedly accused of unilaterally telling FGMA to cut the needs assessment that they created to align with budget. That's a lie. John Rock told this committee back in September that, quote, council will not approve a program that doesn't align with budget, close quote. When they made that statement, I informed FGMA of their demeanor on this, which was my obligation as committee chair. But it's been repeatedly said that I unilaterally told them to cut the needs that they created, and that's simply not true. And I need it recorded on the record that these repeated references to unilateral assignments to me personally are just lies. And I'm tired of it, and I don't want to hear it anymore. That's all I have to say on it. Is there any new business? Motion to adjourn?
I have old business question.
Yeah.
I believe there was a motion last meeting about getting a fee proposal from FGMA to expand the scope of work for additional master planning. Did we ever receive that from them?
I talked to Ms. Atwater, and we decided that we wouldn't need to expand the scope, that she could handle what we want handled within the scope of the engagement. So.
Yeah, she said whether it was intentional or not, they thought they had the scope of work we then described for them as covered. So, but thanks for asking. It's a good question. Any other questions on new business? All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Eberhard?
Yes.
Mr. Rock?
Yes.
Mrs. Smockby?
Yes.
Chief Perko?
Yes.
Chief Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Pennington?
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. I'm glad we finally got to this point.
7:05, we're adjourned.
Did you write down when we started, Brad? I think it was 6:10.